What if I told you that 4 minutes and 32 seconds of elevator footage holds the key to one of the most disturbing mysteries of our time? What you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about the Elisa Lam case. Picture this. A young woman enters an elevator alone. She presses buttons frantically. She peers around corners like she's hiding from something. She talks to someone who isn't there. And then she vanishes. Forever. This is the story of 21-year-old Elisa Lam, whose final moments were captured on security cameras at one of America's most haunted hotels. For over a decade, investigators, conspiracy theorists, and internet detectives have tried to solve what really happened in those final minutes. But here's what they all missed. The evidence was right there, hiding in plain sight. And when you hear what I've discovered, you'll understand why this case has haunted millions of people worldwide. By the end of this video, one crucial detail will change everything. So stick around, because the truth is more disturbing than any theory you've heard before. Before we dive into that fatal elevator ride, you need to understand who Elisa Lam really was. Born in Vancouver, Canada, Elisa was a bright university student studying at the University of British Columbia. She was passionate about fashion, blogged about her travels, and had dreams of exploring the world. But Elisa was fighting a battle most people couldn't see. She lived with bipolar disorder, a condition that caused dramatic shifts in her mood, energy, and thinking. When properly managed with medication, she was vibrant and social. But when those chemicals in her brain became unbalanced, that's when things became dangerous. In January 2013, Elisa embarked on what she called her West Coast tour. She planned to visit San Diego, Los Angeles, and Santa Cruz. It was supposed to be a solo adventure, a chance to find herself and document her journey on social media. But fate had other plans. Her journey would lead her to 640 South Main Street in downtown Los Angeles, the Cecil Hotel, a building that had been collecting dark secrets for nearly 90 years. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button if you love unsolved mysteries. We dive deep into cases like this every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. The Cecil Hotel wasn't just any hotel. Since opening in 1924, it had become synonymous with death, despair, and the darkest corners of human nature. Over the decades, at least 16 people had died within its walls. Suicides, murders, overdoses, mysterious disappearances. This was where serial killer Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, lived while terrorizing Los Angeles in the 1980s. Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger stayed here while hunting victims in the early 90s. The hotel was so notorious that locals called it the Suicide Hotel. By 2013, the Cecil was trying to rebrand itself. They had created Stay on Main, a hostel-style accommodation on the upper floors, hoping to attract budget travelers and tourists. The rates were cheap, the location was central, and if you didn't know the history, it seemed like a decent place to stay. Elisa checked into room 506 on January 28, 2013. She was supposed to stay for one night, then continue her journey north to Santa Cruz. But something changed her plans. Hotel staff later said she seemed normal when she checked in, friendly, polite, maybe a little tired from traveling. Her parents back in Vancouver were receiving regular updates through social media and text messages. Everything seemed fine. But appearances can be deceiving, and the Cecil Hotel had a way of bringing out the darkness in people. January 31st, 2013. This was supposed to be Elisa's checkout day, but she never appeared at the front desk. Her belongings remained untouched in room 506. Hotel management tried calling her room. No answer. At first, they weren't too concerned. Guests extend their stays all the time, sometimes without notifying the front desk immediately. But as the hours passed, worry began to set in. Elisa's parents in Vancouver were the first to sound the alarm. Their daughter, who had been posting regular updates about her trip, had gone completely silent on social media. No Instagram posts, no Tumblr updates, no text messages home. For a young woman who lived her life online, this silence was deafening. The LAPD was contacted, missing persons report filed. Hotel security footage was pulled and examined frame by frame. And that's when they found it, the footage that would haunt the internet forever. February 1st, 4 a.m., 4th floor of the Cecil Hotel. Security camera timestamp shows a young woman entering the elevator alone. But what happened next defies explanation. Let me walk you through every second of this footage because the details matter. Elisa enters the elevator wearing a red hoodie, black pants, and sandals. She appears calm at first. She presses multiple buttons on the elevator panel, floor 2, 4, 10, 14. She's trying to go up, but the elevator doesn't move. She waits. 15 seconds pass. Still nothing. Then something changes. She steps outside the elevator and peers both ways down the hallway, like she's checking to see if someone is following her. She steps back inside, but now she's pressing herself against the side wall of the elevator, trying to hide from the view of the hallway. Here's where it gets disturbing. She steps out again, and this time she's talking. Her lips are moving, her hands are gesturing, like she's having an intense conversation with someone, but the hallway appears empty. Her hand movements become more erratic. She's pressing her palms together, then spreading her fingers in strange patterns. Some people say it looks like she's trying to count, others think she's having some kind of supernatural encounter. Then, the most chilling moment. She starts moving her hands in a way that looks almost ritualistic, up and down, side to side, like she's performing some kind of ceremony or responding to commands from someone we can't see. Finally, after more than 4 minutes, Elisa walks away from the elevator, heading toward the left side of the hallway. The elevator doors close. She's never seen on camera again. Now, if you think that footage is disturbing, wait until you hear what investigators found 19 days later. But first, drop a comment below. What did you think was happening in that elevator? For 19 days, Elisa Lam remained missing. The LAPD canvassed the area, interviewed hotel staff, checked local hospitals and morgues. The elevator footage went viral on social media, spawning countless theories about what might have happened to her. But then, hotel guests started complaining. The water pressure was low throughout the building. Some reported that the water coming from their taps had a strange taste and dark coloration. The hotel's maintenance team was called to investigate. Santiago Lopez was the maintenance worker who climbed to the roof on February 19th. What he found up there would traumatize him forever. 4 large water tanks supplied the hotel's water system. 3 were properly sealed. But the 4th tank, the one furthest from the roof access point, was different. The heavy lid was askew, not properly secured. Santiago approached the tank and peered inside. Floating face up in the water was the body of a young woman. Elisa Lam had been found, but the mystery was just beginning. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office ruled her death an accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. Case closed, they said. But for anyone who examined the evidence closely, nothing about this case made sense. Here's what the official investigation couldn't explain, and why this case continues to haunt people more than a decade later. First, the water tank itself. These tanks were over 10 feet tall and positioned on the roof of a 14-story building. To reach them, you had to take the elevator to the top floor, find the locked roof access door, climb a ladder, and navigate across the roof. Security footage showed no record of Elisa accessing the roof. Hotel keycards were required for elevator access at certain hours, and hers hadn't been used. So how did she get up there? Second, the tank opening. The lid was extremely heavy, designed to prevent exactly this type of accident. Even if someone could climb up the outside of the tank, they would need significant upper body strength to lift that lid while hanging from the rim. Third, the positioning of her body. She was found floating face up, completely naked, with her clothes and belongings floating nearby. If she had fallen or jumped in, basic physics suggests she would have sunk initially and been found face down. Fourth, and most disturbing of all, toxicology reports showed she had not been taking her prescribed medication. Her bipolar disorder medication, which kept her stable, was not in her system. But here's the crucial detail most people miss. She had been in Los Angeles for 4 days. Even if she had stopped taking her medication the day she arrived, it would still be detectable in her blood for several more days. This suggests she had stopped taking her medication before her trip even began. But if that's true, why did she seem so normal when she checked into the hotel? Now here's what investigators missed and what changes everything about this case. Remember that elevator footage? Everyone focuses on Elisa's bizarre behavior, but they ignore the most important detail: the timestamp. 4 a.m. The Cecil Hotel's elevator system was programmed to automatically return to the ground floor during overnight hours to save energy and prevent unauthorized access to upper floors. For Elisa to access that fourth-floor elevator at 4 a.m., someone had to manually call it up. Someone else was awake in that hotel. Someone on an upper floor pushed the call button, summoning that elevator. But who, and why haven't they ever come forward? Let's examine the elevator footage again with this knowledge. When Elisa first enters, she presses multiple floor buttons, but the elevator doesn't move. This isn't because the elevator was malfunctioning. It's because modern elevators won't respond to floor selections until all passengers have entered and the doors have closed. But Elisa keeps the doors open by standing in the doorway. She's waiting for someone she expects to join her in that elevator. When they don't appear as planned, she becomes agitated, confused, and eventually frightened. Her hand gestures aren't random. Watch them again. She's trying to communicate with someone, possibly someone who can't hear her clearly or who is giving her conflicting signals. This is getting intense, isn't it? Make sure you're subscribed because we're about to reveal the most shocking part of this entire mystery. Here's what I believe really happened to Elisa Lam and why this case has never been solved. Elisa did stop taking her medication before her trip, possibly days or even weeks before. This sent her into a manic episode, which explained her decision to travel alone and her increasingly erratic social media posts in the days leading up to her disappearance. But she wasn't alone at the Cecil Hotel. Someone else was involved. Someone who had access to the building and knew how to navigate its security systems. This person may have approached Elisa during her manic state, when she would have been vulnerable to suggestion and prone to trusting strangers. They convinced her to meet them, possibly promising to help her with something or offering her drugs. The elevator footage shows Elisa waiting for this person. When they don't show up as planned, she becomes confused and frightened. Her manic state makes her unable to think clearly or leave the situation safely. Later that night, this person convinced Elisa to come to the roof, possibly telling her it was safe or that they had something to show her. In her compromised mental state, she agreed. What happened on that roof, we may never know, but I believe Elisa's death was not suicide, not an accident, and not supernatural. Someone helped her reach that water tank, and someone has been living with this secret for over 10 years. The LAPD closed this case too quickly, focusing on mental illness as an explanation while ignoring the physical evidence that pointed to outside involvement. Why would someone cover this up? The Cecil Hotel was already fighting for its reputation. Another murder, especially one involving a young tourist, would have been catastrophic for business. Local law enforcement was under pressure to solve this case quickly and quietly. Ruling it an accidental death related to mental illness was the path of least resistance. No lengthy investigation, no media circus, no uncomfortable questions about hotel security. But the internet never forgets, and the more people examined this case, the more obvious it became that the official story didn't hold water. Today, more than 10 years later, new evidence continues to emerge. Former hotel employees have come forward with stories about strange occurrences that night. Security footage from other parts of the building has never been released, and the person who called that elevator to the 4th floor has never been identified. So what do you think? Was Elisa Lam's death really an accident, or was someone else involved? Have we been looking at this case all wrong for over a decade? Drop your theories in the comments below, and if you want to see more deep dives into cases like this, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because the truth is always stranger than fiction, and some mysteries are too important to let go. Next week, we're diving into another case that authorities tried to close too quickly. Another young woman, another mysterious death, another cover-up that's finally coming to light. Until then, keep questioning everything. The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered.